Hello and welcome to our podcast Exploring with Anna, Voices of Tomorrow, where we talk about everything future, businesses and concepts that are going to impact us in the years to come. Today, we're going to talk extensively about robotics, and we have a formidable guest here with us today, Ling Ting Ming, who is the founding president of one of the world-recognized robotics companies based out of Singapore, OTSAW Robotics, specializing, among other things, in healthcare sector. Lynn, thank you so much for finding the time to join me today for this interview, and it's a real pleasure to host you here.
Thank you, Anna, for having me. It's an honor, and I really look forward to this interview session. Appreciate that as
Okay, fantastic. So look, let's start with a very simple question. So today you run one of the very successful, globally recognized robotics ventures, but roughly this journey took you around 10 years to achieve. So back in the day, can you just reflect a little bit what drew you to robotics in the first place, and why did you choose healthcare sector?
Wow, that has to go back to the year 2015.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, it's quite a long story, but I'll try to keep it short. So, well, before also I was running another business which is called Active Technology. It is the first company that I founded. It
Okay.
is IT and a fiber optical telecommunication business. It
Okay.
is still running now, but I don't run that business anymore. So what happened was back in 2015, I was getting a little bit bored running that company because it's getting very stable, it's doing very well. That it was at its peak. So at its peak, we have 500 employees in that company.
Wow,
And
that's a
yes,
business.
yes. And I was looking for sort of a sabbatical break to really think about nothing and go and learn and search for new inspiration. And I happened to be in Silicon Valley in 2013, 2014. And when I was there to visit one of my nephew, he was studying in Stanford. I really grew into this thing when I was in Silicon Valley. Like I met people and they tell me so many success stories. And I was drawn into it. And then like, what is the magic of Silicon Valley? People go there and they have a lot of ideas, creativity. They are not afraid to fail. And I know someone that I met, he sold a company, he set up a company in less than 2 years. He sold the company again. And I
Wow.
asked him how much. And then he said
Mhm.
250 million. And then I asked him how many employees. He said only 15 employees. I'm like, what? I'm, I
That's
was
such a
running a business.
difference in dynamics.
Yeah. Yeah. I was running a
Okay.
business of 500 people in Singapore. And I said, I don't get to have a valuation of 250 million, right? So I say,
Oh my
what am I
God.
doing
Okay.
in Singapore? It's crazy, right? And that kind of attracted me so much. I want to know
Mhm.
what is the magic?
Okay.
Why people can be so successful and so fast with such a small workforce, right?
Okay.
And then I came back, I told my guys, I'm gonna take a sabbatical leave. 1 year later, I will be in Silicon Valley. And that was during my annual dinner, which I speak to all my employees, and they thought I was
Wow.
joking. Then 1 year later, in 2015, I got my H-1B visa. I was in US and I told them I'm leaving. They were still shocked. They said, I thought you were joking. I said, no. I was running that company for 8 years. I said, guys, the company doesn't need me anymore. Meaning it's successful. I have made myself redundant. I'm no longer useful. I need to make myself more useful, right?
Wow.
So
But this
search
company
the
is
new.
still operating? The one that.
Yeah, it's 17 years old now.
Oh,
We just celebrated its 17th anniversary, last year, November, right?
that's an
So,
incredible story.
yeah, yeah. So, and when I got there, actually, I was alone. I don't know anybody. So, and then I make friends. We set up a
Mhm.
new uh office in this place called Runway. Runway is based in a Twitter building on Market and 10th Street in San
Okay.
Francisco. And in Runway, there are at least about 500 startups. It's,
500?
Yes, yes. It's such a big office. Is like it used to be an old warehouse, a furniture building, and then tutor bought over and converted it. And the floor is like, it's called runway because it's like literally from one end of the building to the other end of the building is like, I don't know, 200-300 meters. It's very, very, very long.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it's huge. And it's
Okay.
one open concept, right? So we started there, and
Uh-huh.
to be honest, I didn't know what I was doing. We were playing with a few things. We did mobile apps, we did F&B apps, and then we also did robotic, right?
Okay.
But
That's
after
a
one
that's a
year,
pivoting. Okay. Okay. Tell me.
yeah, I'm crazy, right? I was excited about everything. There's so much of download information. And after one year, we rationalized and we said we go for robotics because the other two are low entry barrier, and again, it's highly competitive and low entry barrier. So we settled for robotics, and we say I hired a bunch of roboticists from Carnegie Mellon, and I make
Mm-hmm.
friends with the professor there, right? And then we hire these master degree students and say, let's develop autonomous driving software. That's how it started. And we are doing nothing but burning money for the first 3 years just developing the software.
Wow. Not even hardware. You started with the other way.
Just software, just software. Yeah, and it's on outdoor autonomy. So as I told you, we were at the peak. We have enough money. So I was happily burning money in San Francisco, honestly,
Wow.
for 3 years. And I seeded the money. I did not raise any money, honestly. For the first 3 years, I seeded my own
Mm-hmm.
money. Right. And
Okay.
I was, in short, I was having some fun, learning new things, making friends, and just doing things that I never thought I would get to do in my life.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right. It was exciting. It was also challenging because I'm dealing with another new era of employees or colleagues that, which are very different from the Asia mentality.
Okay.
So they are all graduate in US, and they are all top students, and they really make me feel like I need to also change and adapt to the new environment. So we
Mm-hmm.
were like friends working together. They don't call me Mr. Ling, they just call me Ling. And I just felt like at that moment, I kind of grew younger. It's like I go back to 20 years ago when I started working, and
Mm-hmm.
that was feeling, and I guess that also helped me to shed off a lot of legacies and a lot of mindset, the old
Mm-hmm.
school mindset. And yeah, 3 years
Mm-hmm.
we developed the software, and then after that, we asked ourselves what product should we have this software on. That time there were a lot of terrorist attacks all over the world in the airports. If you recall,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
bombing 2018,
Mm-hmm.
2017, 2018, and then we said, why don't we make a security robot? And you see this
Okay.
guy behind me, OR3, this guy behind
Mm-hmm.
me,
Yeah, yeah.
it's first
Exactly.
product. So in order to demonstrate the software capability, we need a hardware, right?
Correct.
And
Yeah.
we built the OR3, the outdoors security robot. In fact, that time we even have a drone behind it. And we have it as one of the world's number one or first outdoor autonomous security bot, right?
Wow.
And with a drone behind. And that's
Mm-hmm.
how we started. And actually, that time we were just doing a prototype, testing the world if this is what the world wants. And we launched it in an exhibition in Singapore. And then, oh man, it was crazy. After that show, everybody came to us. And then we started to get
Uh-huh.
worried. It's like we didn't know that it's going to impact the world so much. And we got kind of scared in a way that now these guys really want to buy our robot.
You did
We
not
were still,
expect that, so you
yeah,
built you
yeah,
you
yeah.
you you blew money, you did all of that,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
a
We were
surprise to you.
still having like a R&D, like a playing with this toy and having a lot of fun. And then suddenly you say, oh, they're serious, they want to buy. And then we're like, okay, let's think about how to make this robot in a production and commercial environment. So that was how it started. I mean, in short, I
Wow.
didn't have a vision. I didn't plan. I just want to go to somewhere that I can learn new things, I can get inspired, and I can be motivated.
Wow, but look, because this is incredible, but I think that also you covered a lot of those things that I want to talk a little bit more into in detail, and
Yeah,
especially like you have said that for 3 years you were just continuously burning cash and you had the ability to afford that. But
yeah.
yet, like it's understood that building a robotics venture is a heavily capital intensive endeavor. And perhaps like even like a decade ago or 10 years ago, there was still a different dynamic in the market in terms of investment. Today's situation is changing, but still, maybe you can share some of the strategies how, let's say, someone who has an aspiring idea for a robotics venture, how to raise funds, how to fund it, where to find money, what to do.
That's also a very interesting question because I've always told my board and my investors, I'm like a fish out of water when it comes to raising fund.
Really?
Okay,
I thought you were really good at that.
no, let me tell you why. My first business, I had no shareholders. I'm the 100% owner of the company. My first company, Active
Wow.
Technology. So after 8 years of running that business, I started OTSAW. And again, I started also with no partners, just me alone, 100%. So because I never had a chance to have partners or I never raised money in my life, I did not know how to do it. And I always thought I'm the Superman, I can.
Now tell me more because this
I can
becomes
leave this.
really,
Yeah,
this
I can
becomes
fight. I can leave this
yeah,
through,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Until after 3 years later, we burned $4 million. I'm
Wow.
like, I'm
Okay.
like, this is too much, right? And if we want to do a production, we have to burn another maybe 10, 20 million. Then I say, hold on, wait a minute. Do I have 10 to 20 million in the next 2 years? I say, I don't have, right? And
Exactly.
what do I
Yeah.
do? Then I started to ask directions and start to talk to investors. That's where, and I don't even know how to pitch. I've never been taught. I thought I was the best salesman on earth, right?
Oh my God, I
But
love what you're saying because
but
it's so
but
so
selling a
typical.
product, but and selling your company shares is two different things. So when I
Tell me.
met the
Yeah.
investors, I don't know how to pitch. I don't have a proper deck. I just pitch it from my perspective, and everything was wrong, right?
Really? Like, can you
Because
elaborate more? Because everybody
because
makes the same
because
mistake.
you see, founders are always very self-confident and thinking that I build a product that I love, therefore the rest of the world will love it, right?
Exactly. It's so
Right?
typical.
But
Exactly.
investor doesn't see it that way. So
Exactly.
I obviously go in the wrong way, and then people will say, this guy, he's so confident. He always talk about his product, but how much does he know about the investment world? People don't just give you money because you can talk, right?
Exactly. No, but what
So
you're sharing is incredible because I know it firsthand. I'm the same, I'm the same
yeah,
way.
so people want to see,
Hmm.
your projection, your use of fund, how do you value
Hmm.
your company? Even people ask me, do you have a valuation report of your company?
Hmm.
I'm like, what the hell is that? I don't even know. Of course, they asked me about IP. We did patent our technology with an IP
Right.
in US and Singapore. But anything beyond IP, because I'm an engineer, I always see things from a technical IP perspective. Then
Hmm.
things like valuation, I don't know. I'm not a financial guy. I would think my company is worth a lot of money, but I don't know how much, right? Then we went through a lot of process. Okay,
Uh-huh.
we hired a consultant to get the valuation report.
Wow. Okay.
And with the valuation report, we go out to raise money to look for investors, right? And then, of course, I can tell you, after meeting 100 guys, maybe I got
Wow.
one investment of 1 million.
So that's the real ratio, 100 to 1.
100 pitch I
My God.
presented. I tell you, it's tough. It's tough. Okay.
I know.
Especially raising money in Singapore or in Asia is very tough. Because during then, deep tech robotics, before COVID, not many people pay attention, right? And
Exactly.
they tend to think that it's hardware. But of course, my IP is not hardware, it's software, right? But a lot of people don't understand, right? They don't understand. So we struggle a lot. We struggle a lot. So I would say, back to your question again, what is the advice? Are you asking me what is the advice if someone
Correct. What is
wants
the
to?
advice? Yeah.
Wow, I really think that you have to think very, very carefully because I was crazy. I didn't have the whole thing thought through and consulted. I just go like I'm the Superman. I can do it. I've done it for my first company. I'm gonna do it for my second company. Here
Yeah.
I am, right?
It rings a bell. I know exactly what you are talking about. I am a
Okay,
good
then
salesman. Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can do
yeah.
it.
And then I got the best engineer from Carnegie Mellon and all
Uh-huh.
that, right? So
Mhm.
and then I'm in Silicon Valley, full of power. We can do it, right? So that's where the real business started. First 3 years, we just having some fun, developing, burning money happily.
Yeah.
We
Tell me.
expect
Yeah.
revenue because we were just developing, right?
Mhm.
And then the real business started is the headache of raising money, right?
So this is what you call the real business fundraising.
Yeah, yeah. The business is in fundraising if you want to be in deep tech because most company will die not because the tech is no good, because they run out of cash. Do you agree with me?
Absolutely. And
Most
cash
great
runs like
ideas,
water.
yes, most great ideas is good, but if you cannot execute, follow through, and hit the finish line, your great idea is of no use. It's easy to have idea, but it's hard to execute and follow through.
Exactly. And
I'm a
execution takes
dreamer.
money. You cannot
Yeah.
execute it without
And,
any
and,
money.
and to be fair, I put in, more than 4 million in the first 3 years. I was a dreamer, but I was also prepared
Yeah.
to get burned for my dream,
But it's
right?
like it's a big burn actually. It's
But
a
you know
big
what?
burn.
To be honest, I didn't even feel it during then because I was so into it. I was
Wow.
so passionate about it because it's like you after 20 years you get to rewind and redo what you get to do again day one in school.
Mm-hmm.
How's the feeling?
Awesome. Like you're doing something new, something
Yeah,
it's really exciting. It's a
yeah.
different
So
flavor to life.
you will not think about the money, you will not care about the money
Right.
because you are so passionate about what you want to do. But after 3 years, I woke up and then I have to learn from baby again how to crawl, not even to walk. And that was so painful. Trust me, I tell you, it's so I told myself, even as an experienced salesman,
Mm-hmm.
almost couldn't survive. How would a newbie with no experience can raise money now? Your chance is so slim. It's so slim. So which means if you
Mm-hmm.
want to go start a business, you really, really must do a lot of homework. Please don't follow my example. It's bad example. Okay. I'm quoting bad example. So you get to learn from my mistake, right? I pay
Exactly.
the mistake I'm sharing with you. I hope you learn and you don't follow my footsteps. You should go and do your research, do your study, and then go and raise the money first, right? Before you even say, put in the money yourself and run it. But I maybe grew up from a very different era, very
Mm-hmm.
different generation. And being an entrepreneur, I'm always thinking that if I don't have a skin in the game, why would anybody want to have skin in the game with me?
Correct.
Right. So for me, I would jump in first before I ask my friend,
Mm-hmm.
come join me, right? So I thought that was the very old school thinking now. People don't do that. People would have, you know, sort out all the strategies, everything before they even hit the road. I
Hmm.
would think these guys, why the youngsters, they are so smart. There's so much data out there for you to get, right?
Okay.
I would say 10 years ago, if you're
Mm-hmm.
going to try to research for data about robotics, I tell you, very little, very, very little.
Exactly.
So, so it was a pure dream and passion and curiosity of what is the magic of Silicon Valley. Heavy price to pay. But I would never live to regret to say I've done that, because if I did not do that, I would look back when I grow old and then say, I missed the chance when I had that and I didn't grab it. And I always say, you only live once in in your life, you don't get to live twice. So don't miss the chance whenever you have it. That is always been the ethos of my life. How do I run my life? Because you only live once. Once you grow old, you are dead, you're finished.
You're
Right?
right.
While you are young, you can do it. Do it. Do
Mm-hmm.
it with conviction and do it with no regrets.
Yeah, but I also think, like you are saying, that today the scenery, the landscape has changed. Now people became more pragmatic. They strategize more before they venture. However, I think the path that you walked, and actually I have walked it too. I paid severely for for my education too. It's the best way because we really learn, because there is a big difference when you play with other people's money and when you play with your money, because other people's money, it's always other people's money. Deep inside you
Yes.
don't care, but when it's
Yes.
your money, oh my god, you learn so fast. You really like, wow, I have done it.
But maybe during the initial first 2 years, it
Mhm.
was my money. I also didn't care much. To be honest,
Exactly.
I was crazy. Now I look back, I think I was crazy. But I think that is my
Hmm.
DNA and that's me, right? And how I can influence people to follow my dreams and support my dreams.
Hmm.
I guess it was not just about money, it's about, you know what? I asked myself, I say, look, if the guys in the Western world can do this in Silicon Valley, I come from
Right.
the small
Hmm.
country because I was
Right.
telling myself, I can do it too.
Exactly.
That was the thing that motivated me.
But Lynn, tell me, like today, do you believe that the scenery, for example, in Singapore has changed towards the investment in their deep technology? Because I
Yes,
think there
I
are
think
many
yes,
similarities with
things
Dubai
have caught up. Things have caught
and
up
Singapore.
over the
Hmm.
last 10 years. Many things have caught up,
Okay,
and especially post-COVID, right?
okay, okay.
A lot of things have changed, and I think the Asia market is getting much more savvy in terms of deep tech investment,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay,
Yes, things have caught up, but I think if you ask me, the funds, the liquidity is still much bigger in US as compared to the Singapore market, right?
okay.
And in the valuation, US would give a higher
Mm-hmm.
valuation from Nasdaq
Yes.
versus
Mm-hmm.
SGX, right? So that will still
Mm-hmm.
remain.
Mm-hmm.
However, when we talk about technology,
Mm-hmm.
valuation, all this, the people here would understand and they are quite aligned with the global,
Mm-hmm.
information, right?
Okay.
So it is good, but it is also more competitive. You have more robotics company around
Yeah,
compared to 10 years ago. So it's never a static situation. It's dynamic, right? So
exactly.
when people know means
Mm-hmm.
more competitors as well, right?
Exactly. You're right.
Yes, I think it is the real world. And I think it's good to have competition because if nobody want to get into this business, means this business has no potential,
You're so right. Exactly. Business
right?
without competition is no business because nobody needs it.
Yes, you're right.
If there are customers, there will always be competitors. And the more
Yes, yes,
competitors are there, the bigger the market actually is.
yes. And I think from a robotics
Hmm.
standpoint, we are still in the blue ocean. The penetration
Absolutely.
rate is
Yeah.
still very, very low. We are talking about
Hmm.
low single digit penetration.
I know, I totally agree with you. But look, you mentioned in the beginning that your first robot, when you started with the hardware part of it, like where to apply your software solution, you started with the surveillance, then you ultimately shifted to the healthcare sector. So you do have a good understanding of the robotics in general. And I know you're an extremely passionate person now when it comes to robotics. So, what
Right.
is your personal vision on the development of this industry, and which sectors for you personally look the most promising?
So again, this comes with experience when I talk. After journey,
Hmm.
almost coming 10 years in this business, right? Again, we started with about building a software, then we built a robot that we thought that's what the market wants, security
Hmm.
robot, and then we evolve. Then post-COVID, you really see the big so-called inflection point.
Hmm.
Before COVID, I can tell you when I try to sell robot to clients, they will all look at me like in a very weird manner. It's like, what's wrong with this guy? You know, there's human that I can use. Why is he telling me about robot that I don't even think is necessary or is helpful? It's like, this guy is a little bit crazy or what? And they want me to pay like $100,000 for his robot, you know?
Yeah.
So I felt like we were in two different worlds before COVID.
Okay. So what changed with the COVID?
Okay. So after COVID, there
Mm-hmm.
was a lot of disruption in the job. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people were so-called retrenched, and people go back to their home country. They found a new life, new job. They continue to survive. They don't come back anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And we look at jobs that are most labor intensive, which is healthcare in the hospital. Because
Okay.
many people left the industry because it was very challenging during COVID. They have to
Mm-hmm.
put on PPE, they have to work in shift, they got risk of exposed to the virus, you
Okay.
know. And also in the airports
Mm-hmm.
retrenched so many people because they were all shut down during COVID. And then when the
Mm-hmm.
post-COVID, they need to hire so many people, they suddenly feel they cannot fill this position, they cannot find so many hands and legs anymore. And third is hotel, right? How do you clean up and turn the room every day? So we identify three sectors: healthcare,
Mm-hmm.
the aviation, and
Right.
also the hotel industry. Very dependent on human,
Right.
doing very mundane, very damn boring jobs that young people don't want to do. Old
Mm-hmm.
people already retire. So we
Mm-hmm.
see there's a great gap and there's the great opportunity for robot to augment and come in to resolve this problem.
Okay.
Now, healthcare in particularly, because why? Let me ask you, can you shut down a hospital?
Of course not.
You can shut down maybe a clinic, a restaurant, a hotel, but
Right.
you can shut down a hospital. You cannot shut down a airport. It's 24/7. It's mission critical,
Mm-hmm.
right? And everywhere I go, I see that every city, every country is building more hospital,
Mm.
bigger hospital extension. Because why? If you look at the demographic of the world population, there is an aging population everywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because the younger generation, they either don't want to get married or they don't want to have children,
Okay. That's
or
that's true
even
actually. And you're
lesser
absolutely
children,
correct.
lesser
Yeah.
children, right? So in my generation, I grew up with siblings of six, right? Six. I'm the
That's
youngest. Then
that's impressive.
yeah, so the next generation, which is my children, I have
Mm-hmm.
three. Me,
Mm-hmm.
three is considered a lot among my friends. Most of them would have one or two maximum,
Okay.
right? So from six is down to three or two is more
Mm-hmm.
than 50% down, right? So you have a inverted pyramid demographic in
Yes,
most.
exactly.
And then do you want your children to work in the hospital as pushing the trolley or being a security guard or doing a cleaner work? Does any one of us want our children to do that?
Obviously not. That's the same
No,
argument I have. That's the
no.
same.
Then who wants to do this job? Nobody wants their children. So whose
Mm-hmm.
children gonna do this job? And who gonna clean this hotel, this hospital, and deliver the thing? Somebody has to do it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Nobody wants to do it.
Nobody
Then we
wanna
all
do
want
it.
to be served, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
new generation, everything is using the handphone, and then I order, you bring it to me, right?
Exactly.
Where
Yeah.
where we come from is we stand on the road and we try to look for a taxi and flag down the taxi. Now there's no such thing. You use the
Yeah.
mobile phone and the taxi comes to you. So everything is, you have to be served, right? And the
Exactly.
human is getting very lazy and comfortable. They just use their finger on the mobile phone. They don't need to walk, right?
You're so right. Yeah.
So I figure out hospital, everybody is increasing the number of beds, building more hospital, larger hospital,
Mm-hmm.
and we get population. So we need the robots in there because we are delivering meals. Most of the hospital we have is about 1,000 bed. 1,000 bed, 3 meals a day is 3,000 meal. 1 year is 1 million meal. And this without
Wow.
fail, 365 days you must operate. And besides meal, we also take care of the trash, the
Mm-hmm.
linens, the surgical tools, the
Mm-hmm.
pharmacies. A lot to transport. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
have the number for you. We have the data. In a typical hospital, with 800 bed. One day,
Yeah.
the number of steps the staff walk is actually 6 marathons, and you have to carry the load of 30 elephants. So I always tell my
Yeah.
client, my
Mm-hmm.
C-suite of healthcare company or hospital, say, do you know that every day you're making your staff to run, 6 marathons and carry 30 elephants? Do you know that? Wow, they are like, wow. I never thought so. I never had the data. When I came in, it was like that. Now
Exactly.
it's like that. I said, yes. I mean, you don't know, but it is what it is. In the year healthcare, you had the most cutting edge laser technology, blah, 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 MRI machine, but then
Mm-hmm.
bringing the food to your patient is still via the trolley like dinosaurs technology. That's
I,
that's what
I know.
that's what the Flintstone, the Flintstone, the dinosaur. So I say, come on, guys, doesn't make sense, right?
Exactly. But but I think you touch a very big subject because a lot of people actually they are so skeptical and so afraid of robotics because they're saying it's anti-humanistic because we are going to deprive people of the jobs. But when you ask them seriously, but would you want to do this job? Would
What do you
you
want?
be interested like in doing this intensive labor intensive work every single day? Nobody wants to do it.
Not just that. Okay, there was also a very big topic about work safety and health environment, work health safety environment. I met a client in Liverpool Hospital. That's my client. They
Okay.
said there are people that work there for 20 to 30 years. They were pulling the meal carts. The meal carts weigh 200 to 300 kilogram.
Mm-hmm.
So because they have to stand in front and they pull it. So every day they do this. And you
Mm-hmm.
know what? After that, the whole their body, the body is twisted. The backbone
Really?
is because they
Oh
are
my
always using
God.
pulling the carts. And that is a permanent injury caused to the employee. And then they have got lawsuit claims of work health injury.
Wow.
So it's not just about replacing the labor or helping the human, but
Mm-hmm.
also using the work health safety injury in the environment as well.
But
This is
no, you're absolutely correct because definitely there are such dangerous environments. Okay, even outside of hospital, let's talk about, let's say, like this heavy industries like coal mining, steel
yeah, yeah,
manufacturing. They're hazardous for a human, hazardous, and
yes.
people have so many illnesses after that.
So don't be skeptical about robotics, because
Yeah.
if I were to share with you, maybe
Mm-hmm.
20 years ago, there were all humans in the factory doing manufacturing, but
Mm-hmm.
robotics came in, it replaced the human, it automate. Now today, the cars, the TVs, the washing
Mm-hmm.
machine, all made, in the assembly line by robots, and they are more cheaper, more efficient, more
Exactly.
productive, and
Yeah.
quality is better. So now shift our mind from the factory environment to the service environment, where it's hospital, it's airport, it's hotel. It's the
Exactly.
same. I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing that's the evolution that is happening in the service industry. That's why we call
Mm-hmm.
this a service board. Service
Mm-hmm.
board,
Okay.
right? So this is where I see the next 20 years will be the era of service boards.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's your vision. That's the area to concentrate on and invest in.
Not just my vision. We look at history to chart
Yes.
our,
Mm-hmm.
you look at the
Mm-hmm.
last 20 years, what's happening,
Correct. Mm-hmm.
we'll move forward to the service
Mm-hmm.
industry.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
You're right. Because the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is actually a lot of investors, professional investors, they still remain, let's say, very adamant about investing in the robotics field. So if you can just think of the top, maybe three things off the top of your head, why investing in robotics now is the best financial decision these investors can make in today's financial environment and market.
I always ask a very simple questions to all the business owner, simple enough for layman to understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Simplify, don't complicate things. I ask 10 business owner, do you think the labor shortage issue
Mm-hmm.
will get better or get worse down the road in the next 10 years? I
And
ask
obviously
all these
worse. Worse, and
10
worse.
out of 10 tell me it's going to get worse, more costly, more difficult to find the people, more unstable because young people, they flow with the mood. They are not motivated to work. They don't feel like working. They don't come, right?
Exactly.
So I don't even need to give you the matrix modeling or whatever rocket science. Just ask the human, and all these are successful business owner. They all give you the straight answer. So if you say no, you will get better, then please don't invest in me, right?
Yeah.
If you say yes, and it's still a blue ocean now, the penetration is less than 3%. We have 97% to go after. Why
Incredible.
would you not invest in this? The next thing I will ask, again,
Mm-hmm.
simple example.
Mm-hmm.
My vision is you look at Volkswagen, they make a car called Volkswagen Polo.
Yeah.
It costs them maybe less than 10,000 euro to make the car. That's why they sell it very cheap.
Uh-huh.
And every family can own a Volkswagen Polo in Germany, right?
Yeah.
The
Exactly.
people's car, right?
Mm-hmm.
My vision is if I were to build a robot close to Volkswagen Polo that every customer can afford to have to own my robot, then everybody will be using it like an automobile on the road. Now, where we started automobile, only the rich people can have it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you go into when Ford Motors starts mass production, that's where things industrialization change.
Yeah.
Same for robots. I see robots very close to the automobile industry because
Mm-hmm.
basically it's helping you to transport something from point A to point B, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Right?
If you talk
So
about service robotics, yes.
yes.
Or
So
even industrial, yeah,
yeah,
perhaps.
so it's like a car. If I can bring it to a price where the volume is, I built millions of them and I can bring
Mm-hmm.
it down so cheap, then
Mm-hmm.
everybody will be using robot tomorrow without even thinking because it's just like your vacuum cleaner and your washing machine at home. It is a standard thing you must have.
You're right. And I'm sure in the coming decade, this is going to be a standard in so
And,
many
and again,
households.
and again, this is proven in the automotive industry. So I always like to cite examples of the history and
Yeah.
then tell you the future. I'm not giving you something now out of the sky without data,
Mm-hmm.
without basis, without reference, without
Mm-hmm.
history track.
Incredible. Look, I hope that a lot of potential, let's say, investors, professional or amateurs at this point will actually listen to this advice and actually remove their skepticism and understand that there is a huge financial potential to really
Yes.
maximize their investments today. And because it's the opportunity like Facebook was presenting back in the day, or
Yeah.
Amazon or Google, those who understood and knew it at that time, they became like
Yeah.
so wealthy people.
Yes.
So I hope that some of our audience will listen to this. But look, in the beginning, you were talking like you were talking about your journey, and that first it was a dream that you were just developing. You were not thinking about like which product you are building. So can you just elaborate a little bit more about other things which you wish you knew from the beginning
Mhm.
and which you severely underestimated when
Okay.
it's coming to building a robotics venture? So yeah, that's I think this is a
Okay.
very interesting
Wow,
topic of
you are
discussion.
hitting all the bullseye, and all the questions are
Really?
hitting my heart, you know. Okay. I think, you know what? You know, innovation
Mm-hmm.
and creating a robot is one thing,
Mm-hmm.
but to productize, commercialize, and to make a robot consistently is another.
You're
You
right.
may be able to
Yeah.
build a good prototype, but if you want to make 1,000 of the same robot that
Yeah.
is consistent, reliable, and can perform,
Mm-hmm.
don't ever underestimate that. So after this journey, I respect people who make something, even making a pen,
Yes.
a spoon, or a
Really?
car. You know why?
That's so
Because
yeah, tell.
you see, from a product standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
I get to learn this all over again.
Mm-hmm.
You need to conceptualize a product, design the product, and then make a sample and test it, right?
Okay,
And then also have to be commercially viable from a cost standpoint.
exactly.
And also must be unique, differentiated, and have a novelty.
Correct.
Think about it. The whole process, actually, there's a lot of details. Even you make a spoon, you need to make a mold, you need to cast the
Mm-hmm.
mold, you need, fuse
Mm-hmm.
it and then make it and then see if the
Mm-hmm.
spoon is good, the shape, the
Mm-hmm.
texture, the smoothness, the
Exactly.
ergonomics,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so many things. Now come to make a robot, there's even more things. So I really respect people who make something these days, because when you look at the chair or the table, it looks simple. When you really make
Mm-hmm.
it, I tell you, there's thousands of steps
So,
you have
so
to do.
okay, so tell me how much time actually it took you to develop, to move from just prototype to actually production?
So we actually prototype in 3 years. We came up with
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
and we come up with what we call a pre-production model 1 year later on the fourth year, right?
Okay.
And then we launch. Then probably on the fifth year, we really start to produce, right? So
Wow.
at least,
5 years in the making, not
yes,
selling anything.
yeah, yes, you're right. And then
Wow.
this is deep tech, Anna. Deep tech.
Yeah,
And there was no market, there was no product, there was no reference, there was no baseline. But that's the excitement, right? Okay, one thing, I don't like to do things that someone else is doing. So then it's boring and it's not exciting.
correct. You're right. Yeah.
But then if nobody has done it, there's no playbook. How do you do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
yes, exactly.
just an idea is not good enough. You need to execute. And then the product must be viable, must perform, must not break down frequently, must deliver all the expectations. So there's so
Mm-hmm.
many, and you need to test and certify all these things. I tell you, that's where I underestimated as well. The second part of the journey was productization.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and that one you need to spend a lot of money to get into the process. You get into the ecosystem, the spare
Mm-hmm.
parts, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So many things. It's like, okay, if you have 1,000 parts, if you miss one part, your robot cannot ship out because you missed that part. And you
Correct.
remember during COVID, the
Mm-hmm.
whole supply chain was disrupted. And
Yes.
then we were in such difficult position, because if you miss one or two parts, you cannot ship your robot, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you need to look for alternative source. You need to have longer lead time. So many challenges. I tell you, I can't even tell you, it's really painful. But then again, I would say it is what it is to make a product. That's why I have high regards
Mm-hmm.
and respect for people who make something.
Lynn, this is really incredible because I think that this insights that you're sharing, I am so sure that a lot of founders that are still in their initial, let's say, steps in this journey, they definitely are not aware, completely underestimate, and don't even realize what is what it is.
Businessman,
Like, oh my
yeah.
God.
Even a seasoned businessman like me also
Yeah.
kind of find it very hard to survive or take on
Mm-hmm.
these challenges. But it is what it is. If you want to go through that, I can tell you, I can spend the whole day talking to you.
I think we will definitely we will definitely have this discussion again on a more detailed, let's say, manner. But what I want to about now, I think this topic is extremely important for any robotics company, and this is what you touched upon multiple times: product market fit. Yeah, I want you to elaborate a little bit more on those strategies that you used in the beginning, and then say, from your perception, from your experience now, whether you believe it's the best approach. And if you knew what you know now, would you have tried to find this product market fit in a different way?
Well, this is quite interesting, as well as a very complicated question, I would say. Now, I say this with my experience and my perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it all has to do with human and
Mm-hmm.
adoption.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, yes, we all love technology and there's a lot of sexiness about technology,
Mm-hmm.
etc. As
Mm-hmm.
you come to actual selling implementation,
Mm-hmm.
there's always two big things that will be your roadblock,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is dealing with the human,
Okay.
right? And then when you talk about adoption, is dealing with the change.
You're right. Change is a big factor.
I mean, human don't like changes, right?
They
So
hate changes, as a matter of fact.
yeah, so you have to deal with this, and no matter how good your technology, the first question they will always ask you, who is using this?
Yes, and
If
you
you're
say,
selling to the first customer and then you say, who is using this? Of course, you are the first customer, nobody's using this. Then nobody will ever be using this because the human will ask you always, I would say, very ridiculous question. This is innovation, and then who's using this? Well, it's nobody because you're the first one, right? Then they will say, oh, then I'm the guinea pig. Why should I be the guinea pig? Right?
it's a
Right?
catch. It's a catch 22.
Yeah. So, and I speak with my own experience that I got
Mm-hmm.
slammed the door on the face so many times, that I find myself in a very ridiculous position and asking myself sometimes, hey man, they like innovation. And then when I tell them this is innovative, it's good, they say good, sexy. But then if I say nobody's using it, then they don't like it. Man, how does this work? Right? It's so
I know.
it's so
We end up
contradicting,
and
right?
having so many ridiculous
Contradicting,
conversations
right?
with people at times.
Right? It's so contradicting, right? Sometimes I find that I don't know. It's like you have never date before and then you meet your first girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, don't you know what it is to date? I say, I don't know. This is my first time. What are you talking about? Right? And then, you just get slammed in the face. And then after a while, you realize that no matter how good your technology, you have to deal with the human and then you have to deal with the change.
You are so correct because I think so many companies that are also dealing with deep tech, they also talk about the same thing. Change and human perception, these are the biggest bottlenecks, like that really like we need to find a way how to overcome that.
In actual fact, you know what? I tell them, look, do you know the airplane that we take every day, the commercial jets we take?
Mm-hmm.
The pilot only does two things, takeoff and landing, right? So this technology of autopilot system has been there for donkey years.
Exactly.
Why nobody question
Mm-hmm.
that the pilot is not flying himself and he allowed to switch to autopilot mode? Why nobody question that? Why do you even sit on the plane where it's autopiloting and you never question the airline that this is not
Mm-hmm.
safe? Why?
It's actually way safer than flying when a pilot just
And I can tell
operates.
you, I can tell you why, I have observed our robot during testings, and I
Mm-hmm.
tell you, strange behavior. I was in our office, and there's this parking lot. There's many trucks will come in and out,
Mm-hmm.
and our
Mm-hmm.
robots was circling around the building. I was
Mm-hmm.
just sitting there noticing the behavior of human driving a vehicle
Mm-hmm.
and robot
Mm-hmm.
driving a vehicle. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
I see human driving the opposite direction. I see
Really?
human cutting into your lane. I see
Exactly.
human doing illegal parking. I see
Mm-hmm.
human press the horn. I see human doing speeding. But my robot cannot do that because robot is not connective. I programmed the robot to move at 3 kilometers per hour.
Mm-hmm.
It cannot drive against the traffic. It
Mm-hmm.
cannot cut into your lane. It cannot, dash a red light. You see,
Mm-hmm.
so if you were to have two pieces of paper, you write down what the human will do as a driver and what the robot will do as a
Mm-hmm.
driver. I guarantee you, the human is the worst driver on this planet.
I would agree with you.
And human has emotions. My robot has no emotions.
Yeah, you're right. Emotions, it's
Now you
killer.
can see, right? Actually, the danger is the human, is not the robot.
And I wish more people perceived it this way. I think we
No,
would have
trust me.
safer roads then,
If you say
way
the
safer.
robot is unsafe on the road, then I also ask you,
Mm-hmm.
every day on the road, there's accident and people get killed on the road. Why don't you get the humans off the vehicle and don't drive them anymore? Because every day people die on the road, on the street. People die, real humans.
But you're right, because the only way to solve this autonomous driving problem in a really effective way is to take out like human drivers entirely from the streets. And then this will be like
And
accident
also,
to, without any accident.
Anna,
Yeah.
Anna,
Hmm.
if
Hmm.
tomorrow I take out the autopilot system from all the
Hmm.
aircraft, pilot will all resign. You believe me?
I'm sure about that because they don't know how to operate it anymore, and they don't want to operate it anymore.
Yes. I even hear stories that they will put the newspaper after they take off on
Hmm.
the screen and they go to sleep.
Yeah,
I've heard about stories in the cockpit that they close the door,
that they
they will
exist. Yeah.
change
Hmm.
to pajamas and they put the newspaper because too bright and then they go to sleep. They don't have to fly the aircraft anymore. It's all autopilot. So if anybody were to have an debate with me about
Yeah.
human and robot driving, I tell
Yeah.
you, it's a very interesting topic.
Okay, but look, just to circle back to our, let's say, the main question. So, in your opinion, for the robotics company, let's say you are at the initial part of your journey, you have a great idea. What is the wiser approach? To first try to do an extensive market research and gauge the interest, even without people seeing your product, or the other way around, do like you did, venture into the development for 3 years, build something, and then, oh wow, I know how this can be potentially used. So, what do you think is a better, is a wiser approach?
I mean, I've suffered a lot. So I would say, in a way, again, retrospectively, I think about
Mhm.
it. I suffer
Yeah.
a lot, and I don't wish people to suffer like me. Stupid. I'm really stupid, right? And then I would urge them to really do their research, get
Hmm.
their pitch deck, learn how to pitch, learn how
Hmm.
to raise money, and then go out and test. And if we
Hmm.
can seed some money, and then start. Of course, they have to also put in some skin in the game themselves.
Hmm.
Right. I think if you ask me, that is the best. But
Hmm.
we don't live in the ideal world. Sometimes you don't even get to start because nobody will believe you. It's always the case.
I know. Don't you think
Yeah.
it's a paradox? So many great, I mean, so many great ideas, so many bright people are there, but it's impossible to break the wall. It's like literally like the wall of huge misunderstanding, the wall of huge, I would I would call it like maybe passive thinking, lack of opportunist outlook on life, like a lot of different reasons. But
Anna, I would say
yeah,
how I summarize it is,
yeah.
do you use your brain or use your heart to run your business?
Well, you should use your brain, obviously.
Yes. But I think I'm more of a heart person. I ran it with my heart
Me too.
wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a struggle, and that also defines a different type of founder, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you will be who you are no matter what. You cannot lie to yourself, right? And we
Exactly.
live for ourselves because we are human. We live for ourselves. We
Mm-hmm.
don't live for other people. And for that, I think I live with no regret. Today, you know me as who I am, what
Mm-hmm.
I'm passionate about. Success or not is secondary to me. But I
Mm-hmm.
think the person that can persevere till the end will be successful, right?
You're
Whether
right.
you use your brain or your heart, doesn't matter. You will have to persevere. The best is
Survive the
use
game.
both your brain and your heart. That's the best, right? Don't just use the heart or the brain. So yeah, I like to simplify it in
Uh-huh.
a more human way so that people
Yeah.
easy to understand.
Look, just to close it off, maybe you can say a couple of words about currently what OTSAW is doing and your plans with the IPO, vision for the coming decade, for your new, I would not say new baby, but for your main baby today.
Okay, so we have two baby. One is the Transcar, one is the Camelo Plus, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are the baby that we are focused on.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of the vertical, we are very focused on healthcare
Mm-hmm.
and then the airports and of course hotels, right?
Okay.
These are the
Mm-hmm.
three main sector. And what I see for the company, in terms of the growth in the next 3 to 5, we will achieve tremendous growth, especially in the healthcare sector, because now we are well positioned. We have
Mm-hmm.
more than 50 hospital clients globally.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll continue to sell to new hospitals
Mm-hmm.
as well as also to sell new products to our existing hospital clients as well. So that itself, there are just thousands of hospitals around the world, and we are setting up our partner channel system all over from US to Europe to Middle East to Asia to Australia,
Right.
everywhere. And every week we get lots of inquiries from the customer because they know that post-COVID, simply very hard to get the labor and the cost is too high,
Yeah.
right? So yes, we are planning for, our IPO this year to launch in NASDAQ. And I really hope the financial market will be more stable, not as unstable as now. We've been preparing it for already 2 years. I mean, the last 2 years, the financial market has been very, very uncertain, right? I hope things will stabilize. But as a business itself is definitely very big potential, and we are growing, and we are talking about adoption now, market share and adoption. And that's what we're doing. So we are good in doing this. All we need to do is replicate, grow the market share, and build more robots so that we can bring the cost down. Like my vision of the Volkswagen Polo, right? That's where I see the future holds for OTSAW and also for our client, because we are helping them to mitigate the cost as well.
Exactly. But look, Lin, it was such an amazing experience talking to you. I learned so much, and you put a lot of things for me personally into perspective, because I was also in this catch-22. I was also like the same experience with the fundraising, and I learned my lessons with everything. And thank you so much for finding this time today to talk about it. And I'm sure that this information will actually benefit a lot of people.
I hope so.
Both founders and also those people who are looking currently what are the right verticals to invest in to maximize their returns in the years to come. So thank you. Really pleasure talking with you.
Thank you, Anna. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.